Hey, buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches, wherever you're at in your day, thank you for tuning in. Here we are, episode 65 of the Good Days Only podcast, GDO, baby. GDO, good coffee, good vibes, good music. Today's an exciting episode because it's been a little bit. We're going to catch up. And we've been on the go, man. Some might say this March has been madness. But yeah, man. Good coffee, good vibes, good music. Got some fun stuff happening. So let's get into that. Again, thank you for tuning in. Episode 65. Let's get into the caffeine breakdown. Ahora sí. All right. Let's get into the caffeine breakdown. What are we sipping on right here? Let me get a little sip of this real quick. We got ourselves some direct source, single origin beans from a nice little spot out here in Bainbridge Island, actually. None other than Pegasus Coffee Company. Yo, for 4.5 decades, they say. Over 40 years, man. Since 1979, to be exact. Bringing some bomb coffee to the Bainbridge area, to the surrounding Seattle area. They have a little coffee shop there in Bainbridge. They got a coffee bar in Seattle, downtown. And something I loved reading about this on their page. Check this out. We select beans with flavor in mind from highly sought after origins and pay more than 2 times the fair trade minimum price to ensure a sustainable standard of living for farmers. Love that. Because oftentimes you're like, yo, the main reason that people import goods from external places is because it's cheaper, right? The bottom line is the dollar sign. But the fact that they're paying 2 times the fair trade minimum, that makes me feel good. All right. That makes me feel like, you know what? I'm giving up this money and some of this is going directly to that farm. Right. So that's cool. Sourcing some beans, man, from some prime locations. We got Nicaragua, Guatemala, to name a few heavy hitters right there in Central America. Check this out. Fun fact here. So let's take a trip back. Ready? We're back in the 80s. Prime of civilization, some might say. We're on Bainbridge Island. A madam by the name of Kim Esterberg. Shout out to you, Kim, because I'm a clap. I don't know if you hear that in the mic, but dude, Kim, she's down just doing her civic duty, man. She's on a trip. She goes down to Nicaragua and she visits La Isla de Ometepe. And this is a little island. Not little, I guess. This is the largest island in Lake Nicaragua over there. And she goes down there. She's just chilling, hanging, and brings back a suitcase of some samples of grade A Nicaraguan beans. How freaking fortuitous, dude. So she brings those beans back to Bainbridge Island, brings them to Pegasus Coffee, and they sign off. They're like, you know what? These are bomb. Let's go for it. Now check this out, dude. That was the first of many, many beans that were traded. Over thousands, thousands and thousands of pounds over the decades. Almost 4.5 here, to be exact. But since then, Ometepe has become Bainbridge's sister island. Those beans, this is from the website, those beans have brought Ometepe's unique coffee to Pegasus, running water, schools, and college scholarships to Nicaragua. So giving back to the community. How freaking awesome is that, dude? And a free flow of exchange students, adult travelers, and love between 2 islands that were once worlds apart. Beautiful, man. That's what life's about, no? Think about that. How fucking crazy is that? That until Kim Esterberg in 1986 went down there, who knows? If she never would have gone, Would somebody else have gone? Would that budding relationship have started? Would that have happened? We never know, huh? We, but we're glad. We're glad for it. So again, shout out to you, Kim. That's amazing. So that's a little backstory. That was cool. That's a little, it was interesting to me. But I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the foundings of Pegasus. So let's take even a little bit further back here. I know we kind of went out of order, huh? But whatever, dude. We're just having a good time. Let me get a little sip here. Hold up. Founder of Pegasus Coffee Company, David Dessinger, if I'm saying that right. I don't know. Dessinger, estimated, best guess. So, our boy David, Double D, some may have called him. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. The boys, just messing. We're just messing. He was a regular. He was a regular at Pete's Coffee House out in Berkeley, California in the 60s. So right around that second wave coffee boom, right? 60s, 70s, the cafes are popping up. We're going somewhere, we're meeting, and we're having a cup of joe, right? So our boy David, he moves up to Bainbridge. Who knows? People do crazy things in life. Berkeley, Bainbridge, they both start with a B. Maybe that was the draw. We don't know. But he comes up here and he's like, you know what? This coffee ain't hitting like the coffee that was hitting down at Pete's Coffee in Berkeley, California. So he says, I need to make myself my own coffee. And he reaches out and he gets a mentor, a man, none other than the man, the myth, the legend himself, Alfred Pete. All right. So here we go. Pete's Coffee bringing the traditions up to Bainbridge. So he gets mentorship from Al, and boom, Pegasus Coffee is born. And it quickly gains a reputation out here around the greater Seattle area. There hasn't been a spot like this before, bringing that European style coffee house vibe to Bainbridge and the surrounding areas. So you got your cafecito, you got your lattes, you got your pastries, right? You come, you hang out, you study, you talk about how you're not looking forward to hopping on the ferry to go into the city to work or whatever, commiserating with others. They bring in local art, live performances, you name it. So it's a popping spot now, right? And it's pretty beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, bringing people together. Here, see, all right. Tangent number 1, dude. Here's the beauty of life, right? So think about this. Like our girl Kim, like David. They did a little one thing, taking that trip. Or you move somewhere and you missed your coffee. And so you're like, you know what? I'm going to try something new. And then that becomes something so magical that you couldn't have even fathomed at first, right? Like a whole coffee company now, decades later, all because this guy was like, hey, you know what? I missed my coffee that I had and I'm going to try it. I'm going to get out of my comfort zone and just do this. And Kim, she's out there on vacation, enjoying Nicaragua. And then she's like, you know what? Let me bring some of these beans back. Not because I have to, because I want to. I'm going to just do this. And then, you see, that's the thing about is just try new things. No, like life's too short. Life's too short. You never know when the next thing that you try or the next time you put yourself out of your comfort zone, you never know if that might just spark a newfound passion, a new meaning to life, a new exploration of a different part of yourself. And what is life without growth? That's what we're here for, right? To experience things, to interact, to have conversations with people from I know we talk about this, but I don't think you could talk about it enough. Because sometimes we forget. Like, yo, let's do this right now. I know you're listening to this podcast, so I know you got time. Let's do 15 seconds, dude. Think about the last time that you were out of your comfort zone. Do that. Just think about it. I'll give you some time. And I'm saying out of your comfort zone, like you purposefully put yourself out of your comfort zone. Not like, oh, because I had to, because I was called on or whatever, but like where you were like, you know what? I don't want to do this because it's going to be uncomfortable. And I don't know how people are going to react or whatever, but I'm going to do it anyways because I know that on the other side of this, I'm going to find something out about myself or about the process or whatever it is that you're talking about. When was the last time you did that? If you thought about that and you haven't put yourself outside your comfort zone in the last 30 days, in the last month, I'm going to say go do that shit, dude. Do it. Because that's how you grow. That's how you get out of that mundanity. Mundanity? Out of that mundane, boring routine where all of a sudden we're like, oh, life's just passing me by. But is life passing you by? Or are you just passing by in life? Huh? Let's go. Let's go do something. Let's go do something new. Don't be a bystander in your own life. You know? Like, this is your life. Let's just, as Shia LaBeouf said, just do it. Dude, just do it. So that was a tangent, right? I said it up front. That was tangent number one. So, but for real, man, I was thinking about it, like, cause yeah, this whole last month, it's been a while since we hopped on here, but it's because I've been busy. I've been on the go. I've been doing shit and work and friends and family and everything. So it had me thinking though, as busy and as stressful as it's been doing all of the things, it gives you a different perspective when you're out there and you're like constantly having to push yourself. And that is what life is about. Okay? Let's get back into the coffee. So, let's see some fun facts, some history here about this coffee, a little bit more information. So, what we're sipping on, I know we're talking about Pegasus coffee from Bainbridge Island since 1979. They have this single origin, Tanzania, Peaberry. You know how your boy feels about a Peaberry, dude. A medium roast, tangerine, cranberry, chocolate. Let me actually read the back of the bag. I don't think I did this. Pegasus Coffee is committed to consistently producing great tasting coffee of excellent quality, sourcing only high grown specialty grade Arabica coffee, selecting beans with flavor in mind from highly sought after origins, and pay well above average prices that support a sustainable standard of living for farmers. Bang, bang, bang. As we have since 1979, wait, what? As we have since 1979, we roast everything we sell to order and in small batches to ensure consistently outstanding flavor. You can taste in every cup. That's what I'm talking about, Pegasus coffee. So these beans, dude, from Tanzania. Is it Tanzania? It's Tanzania, right? Peaberry, if we recall, right? That's that mutation. And we like this mutation and these beans because of the nuance of the flavors, because you get a little bit of a different. This is a little bit more acidic, I'll say. The mouthfeel it's a medium body, but it's elegant, all right? It's smooth. You can sip on this. You can put a little leche if you want to put a little leche in there for yourself. But it's delicious, man. It's delicious. And fun facts here, this might be part of the reason that it's delicious, and I think so. Tanzania is home to the tallest peak in all of Africa. Mount Kilimanjaro, just about 5,900 meters, over 19,300 feet. Think about that shit. Miles high. Mount Kilimanjaro. Dope. And it also, so Tanzania also shares the deepest tropical lake in the world. Lake, this one I'm not sure how to pronounce, but we're going to do our best. Tanganyika, I think, is how you say that. Tanganyika. Deepest tropical lake in the world. Not only the deepest freshwater lake in the world, but the second largest freshwater lake by volume. So, because, dude, think about this. This lake stretches over 670 kilometers. If we're in the US, I know you ain't converting that fast. That's about 416 miles. Okay? Let me do a quick little hold up from, let's see what 416 miles is, because we drive from Seattle to Walla Walla, right? And that is about like 100 and something miles. Oh no, 271 miles. So from Walla Walla to Seattle, Washington, if you're in the Pacific Northwest and you know that distance, you've driven it, right? You've gone through Yakima, you've gone through the Palm Springs of Washington on I-90. You've gone over the pass, dude. You know how far that is. That's a mob, right? And driving that, think about driving that 2 times. So pretty much that length times 2 is the length of this lake, like around this lake. Isn't that nuts? Or no, I don't even think it's the perimeter. It just says it stretches that far. So it might just be that long. In any case, that's a big ass lake, dude. So tallest mountain peak in Africa, second largest, the largest tropical lake in the world, and second largest freshwater lake by volume in the world. Deepest tropical lake in the world. That's what I was trying to say. So what am I saying all these things for, right? This is diverse. This little country right here, nestled right there in between. Where are we in between? I think Kenya is right around there. Let's see. Geography time. Oh, yep. So Kenya is just north. So it's right there on the Indian Ocean. We got Mozambique to the south. We got Zambia, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda. So it's got all of those around it. And it's a nice little, it's surrounded by water, essentially. So you've got mountains, you've got elevation, you've got this diverse ecosystem, all these lakes, the water's near there. You're sitting right near the equator, so you're perfect placement on the bean belt, right? So this is, no wonder we got these beans. Fantastic. The nuance in the flavor. Again, a little more acidic here, but some brightness. Maybe that note of tangerine that's what they're saying. So very good though. Very good overall. The grind preference here. So with the Peaberry, we had it. I've been doing a lot of AeroPress for the convenience, but we had to hit it with the pour over. And it was bomb.com. Nom 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 nom. Delicioso. I think all in all, notes. Anytime that I've gotten the Peaberries, I've not had one single coffee where I'm like, I wouldn't want to drink that again. So great job sourcing. I know we got away from the Central America, but these beans are top notch, man. These beans are top notch. The appearance and packaging here, very cool image here, a little silhouette of the mythical creature, the Pegasus. Right, if you recall your Greek mythology, that was what's his face? Hercules had that little Pegasus, right? The little dude. That guy was cool. That was probably my favorite part of Hercules, like the cartoon, the animated one. But Pegasus said to have emerged from the blood of Medusa when she was slain by Perseus, if you're into Greek mythology. What do all these names mean? Did you remember the I mean, I don't know. I guess all schools learn different things maybe because like there's a common curriculum, right? And that changes. But I feel like we spent a good amount of time learning about like Greek mythology, and I don't remember any of it, dude. What happened? I need to look into that a little bit more. It's cool. It's cool. I like Hercules. Hmm. Anyways, dude, Pegasus Coffee, all in all, been around the block for several decades, dude. You gotta give it a try, especially if you're out here in the Seattle area. Dude, the internet exists. Go onto their website and get yourself some coffee. Get yourself some Pegasus Coffee. And that website, actually, here, let me just drop it here for y'all. It's, hey, guess what? PegasusCoffee.com. Bang, bang. Go check them out. And remember, they give a lot of money back to the farmers that they source from. So feel good about that. Feel good about that. Let's move on to some good vibes. And today, we've been on the go, like I said. So I'm going to catch y'all up a little bit. We've been on the go. We've been traveling. As I said, March Madness takes on a whole new meaning. Dude, 4 U.S. states, 3 countries. I was counting these, and some of those were layovers. So, but I'm counting them, dude. I'm counting them. Lots of coffee, countless memories, lots of connections. And I just want to share a little bit about the last month or so, because it's been a little bit of a whirlwind at sometimes, but it's been great experiencing life, as I was talking about earlier. So let's start from the beginning, dude, from the beginning of March. First time visiting Vancouver, BC. If you haven't been and you live in Washington, you got to go. Go check it out. If you have your passport, get your passport and then check it out, because it was really cool, man. It felt like an extension of Seattle and Bellevue sort of mixed. But what I loved was, so first off, when you're driving into the city, the scenery is amazing. It's just like having the Olympics a little bit closer to Seattle. Like you're driving in and you're seeing, so like when you're coming off I-90, right, and you're coming into Seattle and you see the Olympics way off in the background, it's kind of like that, but the mountains are just like right there. And they've got ferry systems and everything. They got water right there. But what they do have that was a little bit different than Seattle was, people say that Seattle's a melting pot, right? But there were, like, everybody I talked to, there were so many different accents, and you were just kind of like, whoa, there's so many different cultures here than I feel like in Seattle. And I don't know if it's just because I've been around Seattle for several years now, and there was the novelty piece of being like, oh, I'm in a different country. But, it was really cool. Everybody was very inviting too. People were nice. The temperature was kind of lame. It was like cold and wet when we were there, but it was still very much fun. We had a nice little beer tour, and we learned a lot of fun facts about the origins of beer and beer production around that area. We learned not to have Mexican food in Canada. The further you go from the Mexican border, it turns out, the less appetizing Mexican cuisine gets. Hey, who would have thought? But we what else happened? Went to a Canucks game. That was really cool to experience hockey in Canada. It's a different level. Like they're into it, because you go to a Seattle Kraken game and you got normies like me. I'm not a big hockey guy, but it's everybody up there was like into it, like they know everybody's names. They know all of the formations. It's cool. It's a whole production. It's a whole thing. Much like I imagine, like, baseball in the US when you go and all of the fans are, well, maybe not, because I feel like there's a lot of people in the US. It's just a little different, like the culture around sports. I feel like in Mexico, soccer, um, yeah, sure, stereotype, but it's true. Like when you go to soccer games down there, it's like it's insane. It's a different, much like I imagine like going to uh, a football match over in Europe. Like it's a different vibe because everybody that's there is actually just so in tune with the sport and is such a fan of it that you just feel that. Similar in Canada, right? The hockey scene. But overall, man, it was a very fun time, very good time, very clean. The traffic lights were weird. They flash. So like you're pulling up to a green light, but it's a flashing green light, which was weird. It was a little off-putting because you're like, okay, wait, am I supposed to go? Because usually here, right, in the US, you're like, oh, flashing lights means like, hold up, stop, figure something out. Either somebody's crossing, there's a pedestrian crossing the street, there's like somebody, whatever, right? The seagulls were out in full force. There's a lot of seagulls around. And what else happened? What else happened? It was like a month ago, so it's been a little bit. But that was good little boys trip. You need that. I think guys and girls, like, we all have our loved ones, we have our significant others, etc. But there's an importance to hanging out with your guys or with your girls and just having that separate time, right? Because much like people of different cultures, when you hang out, there's an understanding. There's this unspoken understanding that of your shared experiences, shit that you had to go through, right? And that allows for a different level of communication, conversation, sharing of information than there is when there's a group of, you know, um, opposing sexes. So that's important. That's important. And I again in this last month feel very fortunate. Shout out to all the fellas because had a lot of boy time. So it's been good. It's been fun. What else happened? So Vancouver, BC, crossing country lines. We come back to Washington and then take off. Now, happy to report the farthest east in the United States of America that I've ever been is South Carolina. Dude, South Carolina, Charleston, watch out. I didn't realize Charleston is a destination place. It's a place to go. It's a place that you pack up your luggage and you say, I'm going to Charleston, South Carolina, because they have beaches, they have food, they have history, they have music, they've got everything. And it was pretty eye-opening, honestly. Very, very cool. We stayed at this haunted hotel. Yeah, didn't know it was haunted till we showed up. I was like, dang. Luckily, nothing happened. Nothing crazy happened. But so near the French Quarter, if you've been there before, like it was cool seeing the architecture too. So like a lot of stuff, right, was cool, but the architecture felt like it was just like old age stuff. Like that brick is from way back, right? And even just the architecture style, like that French style, you don't really see a lot of that out here on the West Coast. Like everything, and I was telling this to the folks that I was with, we see in Seattle, for example, you just see a lot of those like modern looking townhomes, right? That are just cookie cutter, like they look the same. They've got like laminate roofs or laminate sides or whatever, and they're always weird colors. It's always like a bright ass orange and like a yellow or green or for some reason, right? But out there, it was very much that like stucco. I think it's stucco, right? Is what it's called. So like stucco French style, like large pillars, brick, like all of the what feels like when you show up, you're like, oh, this is some old shit right here. This is an old building. So that was cool walking around and seeing that. Of course, gotta talk about the food. Dude, the food, seafood, barbecue. I'm talking like oyster shooters con sal, limon, y chile. If you didn't know, this is what you gotta do. If you're like, dude, but the oysters, it's weird. Do this. Do this. Get yourself an oyster. Whether you go to the restaurant or whatever. If you don't know like how to prepare them or whatever, go to the restaurant. Get some oysters, some fresh oysters. Hopefully you're in a coastal city or state or area that you can get some nice fresh oysters. And you shuck it, you open it up, and then put yourself some lime. Get some lime. Not lemon. I know people do lemon, but do lime. Do a lime and put it on there. And then get yourself some salt and just sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. And then get yourself some, whatever your favorite hot sauce is, right? It could be as mild or as spicy as whatever. Put a little bit of that on there. And then, oh, my mouth is watering just thinking about this. Because, oh my God, dude, it takes you to heaven. They say oysters are aphrodisiac. I don't know. Test it out yourself. But yeah, some oyster shooters, dude. Barbecue, like I said, some seafood. I had so much seafood. Ate a lot of food. There's a lot of history though, too, in Charleston, right? So like we took a sailboat out and we were out on the harbor. We pulled up next to Fort Sumter. I say it different like every time. But Fort Sumter, where the first shots of the American Civil War were shot, allegedly. That's what they say. So that was cool. Like we just like were out there looking at history. Like that has been around since the beginning. Like when shit was popping off, right? It was cool. It was interesting to see. And a lot of raw, sad but real stuff that happened, man, that we have to talk about. Like one of the most active slave trade ports in all of the Americas, I think. Yeah, all of the Americas. Over 500 people, human beings. There was a record of over 500 people that were traded in one day from right there, from right outside, right in South Carolina, right in Charleston, right there, that bay. People, human beings, dude. Think about that. And this isn't a political podcast, so we're not going to go all the way down that rabbit hole, but just like, man, human beings that were traded for pennies, because somebody was like, you're lesser than I am because I don't understand you and I don't know your culture and whatever. Fucking, that's gross, man. And yeah, sad. And you think, too, like bringing it back to, let's get a little bit not so sad, huh? But like bringing it back to the food, if you're talking about food in the South, and people are like all about, our seasonings, our spices, the Creole, the Cajun, our Southern cuisine. You do not have any of that without Africans, dude. Shout out to Africa, man. Because you think Gwendolyn was whipping up something fucking spicy with some flavor? Before the unfortunately enslaved African women introduced it to the kitchen in the South, hell no, Gwendolyn wasn't whipping that shit up, dude. No way. They had salty corn and potato stew and some bread. Like, ain't no way Gwen was pulling up with the spices, with the garlic, with the cumin, with the cayenne, with the peppers, until the African women that were working in the kitchens, put them on. Cause like, so now, anybody that's in the South that's like, oh, this is our cooking. Like, dude, you got to acknowledge where that shit came from. Without those traditions and the way that the African women came over and introduced that here, that would not hit as much as it does. So appreciate it. Yeah. Can't overstate that. You cannot overstate that. Shout out to Africa. Let me get a little sip of water. My voice is cracking. Mm. Man. So yeah, the South, the food, yeah, the what is it called? What do you call it when people like accept you come in there? The hospitality. That's a true thing too in the South. You know, everybody was like, "Oh, welcome. What are you doing here? What's happening?" Like people were friendly. People were, and maybe again, this is just like living in Seattle for the longest. People were like approachable and just like happy. It was also really nice, and you're by the water, and it's nice and it's sunny and it's cool, and you got a lot of good food and good music and stuff. So you know that probably helps. That probably helps. But it was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun. Definitely want to go back. So I would say, yeah, if you're looking to like visit out there, yeah, Charleston's pretty sick. The what did we stay at? We stayed at the Marion, French Marion, the what was it called? Marion Hotel, something Marion Hotel. And it was this dude, they called him the Swamp Fox. You remember that? The Swamp Fox? So this is one of those things that shout out to Miss Elsizer. I remember learning about, but I don't remember all the details. But it was this dude, this like general that was like going, he was fighting in the war and he was out there in the swampy areas. And any time that they were trying to find him, they couldn't find him because he was like 10 steps ahead. And then he had a little crew of men and they were just like evading all of the attempts to capture him. And he was kicking ass and taking names. But yeah, the Swamp Fox. Look that up. It's cool. Next one, where'd we go? So that was Charleston. And then, dude, we go to Cabo San Lucas. Let's go. Talk about more fun in the sun, man. You know, dude, again, the food, boys trip, boys trip in paradise, dude. We swam in the ocean, which was crazy doing that again because you forget, or I forgot, how buoyant you are in the ocean. It's like you could just float there because it's so salty. It was really cool. I was like, oh, this makes sense. Kinda. Science, I guess. But yeah, swam in the ocean. I had ceviche 12 times in 4 days. I had like we had tacos. And here's the thing. I think I've said this before, but dude, tacos, when you got tacos with tortillas that you just made, it's so much better. It's so much better. It's night and day. It's no comparing. You got to get yourself a tortilla press, get yourself some masa. The process is simple. It's simple. It's not like 87 steps to make tortillas. The tricky thing is getting them consistently to the place where you like them, right? That they're flat enough on the after the tortilla press so they're not too thick when you put them on your comal or on your pan or however you're going to do it. But that just comes with time, right? It's just reps. And I think everybody should have a tortilla press. Everybody should make your own tortillas. And everybody should enjoy a nice taco. At least once a week, we probably have tacos. Yeah. Because they're just top tier, dude. Superior. Superior. You can do anything with it. With a tortilla and some meat or some cheese or some beans, any type of protein. Make it a veggie if you're a vegetarian. Ay, ay, ay. Tortillas? Is that like the best accompanying meal? What do you call that? Side? Like bread, tortillas, etc.? I think so. I think so. So yeah, Cabo San Lucas was super cool. We saw whales, right? It's around the time that the whales are out there. So we saw some whales. We were out on a boat. The weather was beautiful, got a little bit of suntan, got some tan lines, hung out in the pool. That was nice. Walked around and again, just shared some good times, some good memories, created those and shared some good laughs. And that's so important. It's so important to share those times, but also I think to acknowledge those times in the moment and then afterwards too. Is just saying, you know what, man, I'm having a good time right now. This is amazing. And we all work, right? You work hard to be able to do the things that you want to do. or even to just to get by too. But when you're working hard and then you do have that little bit of time where you can sit back, even if it's in the backyard, if it's in the car, and you can just relax for a little bit and say, you know what, man, I just bought all the groceries I wanted. I'm gonna make this dope meal, or I just had a nice cold Modelo on the beach, or I just kicked my feet up around the campfire, or I'm in the backyard and the kids are playing and I'm just sitting here for 15 minutes. When you have that time and you can really just think about it in the moment and reflect and be like, yo, I'm working hard and I'm enjoying it right now. That hits, man. That hits. Is this what adulting is? This is what adulting is. I'm just realizing, like, I'm working my ass off. For what? To enjoy life or to get by and hopefully get to a place where I can enjoy life. And acknowledging when you are enjoying life, I think helps you appreciate it a little bit more. Why are we getting so deep, dude? Why are we getting so deep? Is this coffee? Is this Tanzania P Berry, man? I'm just feeling reflective right now. And yeah, man. That's all I'll say about that. We're rambling. We're rambling. Let's get into the GDO playlist. Because, dude, this is very timely. Oh my gosh. Let me drink some water. I also lost my voice. So we were at the club, we were out and about, and the music was so dang loud, dude. It was so loud. One of those, like, you gotta yell to get your voice 6 centimeters, and we were yelling in each other's ears. And so it took my voice like 4 days to come back this whole week. I was just like sipping tea, sipping coffee, sipping warm fluids. And now it feels better. But then also, we went to a concert last night, and that's what I'm going to talk about for the GDO playlist because it's timely. And I was like, oh, I can't yell too much because my voice is still recovering from last weekend. Hey, you know what? You couldn't help but yell. I'm talking about, for today's GDO playlist, attached to this episode, Raul Alejandro. Yo, Raul Alejandro, our Puerto Rican short king, man. The songbird of our generation. Is he the songbird of our generation? He might be. You ask me. Raul Alejandro, dude. We just saw him in Seattle here for the Cosa Nuestra tour. It just kicked off yesterday. What day is today? It's the 6th. Yesterday, April 5th. At Climate Pledge, it was a movie, dude. It was an event. Again, the first stop of this tour, we've seen him in concert before when he came out here for the Saturno tour, and he actually acknowledged that, which was really, really cool. And we pull up, right? We pull up to the function. Imagine this. So this whole album that I'm talking about, this Cosa Nuestra, just came out in November of 2024. So freaking, dude, the vibe of this, I'm telling you, like, it's this guy, Raul Alejandro, his ability to go from smooth and sensual and suave to getting turned, throwing some ass. This guy, that range, not everybody could do that. You know, like Michael Bublé, yeah, he's got a vocal range and he's cool, like he can sing, but he's not going from like that sing that is beginning to look like, or like whatever, to like party turn, let's get active. And this guy, Raul Alejandro, dude, he's got it all. So we pull up and he has there's themes, right, for concerts, right, where they're like, hey, everybody show up wearing this similar aesthetic. And so the vibe was like 50s 60s dapper down, like, wear the women a nice dress. I wore like a two pieces of the three-piece tuxedo, right? So like just the vest and the nice white collar undershirt, the slacks, some nice shoes, and it was so cool seeing everybody's outfits. It always is, right? When you go to these different concerts and stuff. And then he pulls out and he's in the same thing. He's like in a zoot suit, right? He's like in a big old mafioso zoot, which is kind of the vibe of this album. And he opens up with his song, If You Know, You Know. Punto 40. Dude, and I called it, dude. I'm going to try not to get too excited so I don't yell in your ear, but I called it. Tengo una punto 40. Dude, I want to sing the whole song. I'm going to clip it here, probably, if there's a video that comes out. I'm going to make a little video. But, dude, where do I start? Let's just focus on this album. Because this album, like I said, so it starts off with the song Cosa Nuestra. He's fresh off of a breakup too, within the last year, right? They were engaged, him and Rosalia. I think we've talked about Rosalia, but you know, if you're in the Latin genre, you know the names. And they were engaged. Whatever happened. I forget exactly what happened, but they broke up. And then she went on and she started dating actually Jeremy Allen White. And Rao, I think he's just been, you know, a heartbroken boy for a little while. He makes this album. This is the first like post-breakup album. And he's got some deep, soulful, soul-searching songs as well, right? So Cosa Nuestra. There's some samples. There's a lot of samples. So there's Tu Con Él, right? Which is a sample of a OG song, Frankie Ruiz. And that's got that salsa vibe too, you know. So he's going that there's this range, right? Again, like salsa, merengue. There's like R&B. Pharrell Williams is in the album as well. He helped produce one of the songs called "Committed." That one's a banger. Hey, preface. I should have prefaced. Don't listen to this with your kids, right? Probably most of the things that I talk about here, don't tell your kids. Maybe there's some cool fun facts, but yeah. So all of these songs, and then there's also like Twerking in the Club, Baja Pa' Ca, for sure. That one's a banger. So he's got that spectrum. I'm telling you, it's got to be studied because this man can do it all. So what was I getting? The album Cosa Nuestra. Yeah, and so the whole production was sick. It was like he was doing like the backdrop was really cool. We got a new song. There was a new song that was performed. The melanin in the crowd, dude. I'ma just say, I love that because you know, being out here in Seattle, yeah, I felt welcoming. I felt home, you know. And coming from Cabo recently too, is just like I'm surrounded by brown people, and I love it. And you know, the cultura. It's interesting. I was thinking about it too, like speaking Spanish. So like when I go to Mexico, for some reason, I don't know if this happens to y'all. When I go down there, it takes me like a day or two to get acclimated to like, oh, I'm primarily thinking in Spanish now. Like out here in the US, like majority of conversations are in English. So I'm initially like when you hear things though and you're talking to somebody that speaks Spanish, you kind of switch it in your brain, right? And so like in Mexico, like I'm talking to people and the first thing that I'm interpreting, you know, it takes me a day to switch from that really and be like, oh yeah, Spanish. And then coming back, it takes like a day or two to switch back the other way. So like when I come back and I start speaking in English over here, I feel like I have a tough time in that like 24-hour period where I'm still like, oh, I'm thinking in Spanish primarily. Let me switch it up to English real quick. You know? I don't know. It's interesting. But then I don't really think about it too much. Like if somebody asks me in English, like, how do you say this in Spanish? Like, you know, you can do that. It's just interesting. So anyways, coming back from Cabo a couple days later, we're at Raul Alejandro and he's, you know, going off in Spanish. It's all Spanish, of course. It was really, really cool, man. It was really cool. I'd love to see a concert like this in a Latin country. That'd be cool. That'd be so dope. Wait, okay. So, Cosa Nuestra, listen to the album. There's songs for whatever type of mood you're in, man. It's the raw vocals. He's, like I said, man, the vocal range, the range of going from suavemente to tra, 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 in the club, bang, bang, bang. Check it out. Put it in your rotation, man. Put it like there are a couple songs on there where you're gonna, the next time that you're making tacos or whatever, you got some Latin cuisine that you're making in the house, you're gonna want to pop some of these tracks on. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. No me la hagas usar. Tengo una .40. Yeah, that's a banger. That's a banger. Nobody expected it coming on either for the first song because I was like, dude, that's just gonna come on. I know it's gonna come on. He's got it. It's such a bop, dude. Yeah. All right. I'm extremely caffeinated. This is where it gets to the point. What are we talking about, dude? Anyways, so hey, we talked about a lot. We talked about a lot, and I'm happy to be back on here. Thank you for tuning in again. Episode 65. Keep your eyes peeled on the GDO Podcast IG page for a little giveaway action here in the coming days. But I hope you are well. I hope you and your loved ones are having a good time doing whatever it is that you're doing. And like I said, hey, you know what? Dude, push yourself out your comfort zone a little bit. And you might be just surprised and happy about what happens in whatever respect that is, whether that's at work, whether that's with your friends, whether that's with your family, whether it's just a solo thing. Put yourself outside your comfort zone and report back, dude, because I'd like to hear about it. I'd like to hear about it. Hey, it's been real. Thank you for tuning in. Much love. Until the next episode, we'll talk to you then.